mind. Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1626 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Building Toronto's Skyline, a podcast and book from Nick Aines from Fusion Corp. And Redley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, returning to kick out the jams, is Manfred from Elephants and Stars.
Hello.
Welcome back, Manfred.
Thank you for having me.
I am donning a shirt. I think you see photos I take with guests by Toronto Tree, and you might see that every third photo or so, at least when the weather's warmer, I'm wearing my Elephants and Stars t-shirt. I love this shirt.
Yeah, that particular design was more popular than some of the other ones we came up with. So I did bring you a new design that we have been selling at shows lately.
Okay, well, give it to me now then. Give me this generous gift right now, Manfred.
So
I love t-shirts.
It's based on the Church of Satan's logo, and it's got the elephant instead of the Baphomet head.
So I got to shout to the camera here. So, Manfred, I had on this program fairly recently a guy named Doug Broad, who is an editor at the Toronto Star, but he wrote a book about the founder of the Church of Satan.
Anton LaVey?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's an interesting book, and there's a long discussion with Doug about Anton and the Church of Satan. And because of that episode, the next episode of Toast with Rob Pruce and Bob Willett, we're kicking out our favorite... No, we did it already. Last Toast, we kicked out our favorite Devil Satan jams in honor of the Church of Satan.
Oh, nice. Good.
So I love it. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
I'll be wearing it for many a Toronto Mic'd photo. But for this photo, this is the Hamilton-inspired model I have, right?
That's right.
Love it so much. And how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. In town for a little acoustic thing tonight. And then...
where are you going to be tonight?
We're at Baby G in Toronto. FOTM's Simon Head's band Foursquare is reuniting with some new members to blast through some of their catalog. And he's asked for a low-key acoustic opener, which we're going to do.
Let's spend a moment talking about Simon. So, Simon, I met because he does a lot of stuff for Lowest of the Low.
Mm-hmm. He's their sound man, among other things.
Yes, and I don't know, I think it's a summer, because I think that day I was about to go on a kayak trip, so I think it was the summer 2024. Simon came over here with all of his video gear. He's a videographer, and we'll get to that in a minute, because I was watching some Elephants and Stars on YouTube, and I saw, directed by Simon Head, so we'll get back to that. But Simon came over with all his video gear, and took shots of me in action down here. And I think at some point there might be like a mini doc or something about what's happening in this basement.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. He's very prolific in his work, and he has just thrown himself right into the filmmaking thing since the Lowest of the Low documentary, which he did. And he's done some stuff for us, which we'll talk about. But I mean, that's part of the reason that he's not really a full-time member of our band. He's just too in demand with podcasts and documentaries and Lowest of the Low.
Well, so I saw you at the premiere at the Rivoli.
That's right. We were there.
Subversives is the name of this Lowest of the Low doc that Simon Head directed.
Yeah, I loved it myself. But
yeah, I loved it too.
Humongous fan of the band. It's not that surprising. But I thought he did them really good justice.
Absolutely. So Simon Head is playing a role in Under the Earth and Above Heaven.
Yes, he's the keyboard player on it. He's sort of our sideman. He's not really in the band, by more his choice than ours. But yeah, so all the keyboard tracks on there, and plus he shoots our videos.
I mean, because he's got a day job too. Like Simon is the busiest guy in the city.
Yeah, between having a full-time day job, being a videographer, filmographer, documentary filmmaker, Lois the Low sound guy, being in like 3 bands, and running a family, and also he lives so far away. So like I can't even imagine how much time he spends commuting.
Well, Simon's one of the good FOTMs. You are too, Manfred. Glad to have you back. I was really happy to see you at that Subversives premiere at the Rivoli. I'm gonna, Mel, I'm gonna crack I was thinking, what order do I want to do? I want to crack my beer. Okay,
let's do that.
So on the mic, Great Lakes Brewery has sent over fresh craft beer. You've got yourself a lager.
I do, a premium lager, not just a
the
regular
best.
one.
Only the best for you, Manfred. Okay, and I got myself my burst here.
3,
2, 1.
Oh, is there a better noise than that?
All right, cheers.
Cheers to you, sir. Thank you.
So we're going to be kicking out some jams, but off the top, I wanted a little more info on New Elephants and Stars. So we've disclosed that Simon Head did some video direction as well as some keys there. Shout out to Rob Bruce. But maybe can I just, as I sip my first sips, which are my favorite sips of any fresh can of GLB, let me play a bit of music. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
The Ceiling. Is this like the lead single?
It was the first single, yeah. So this came out in December, and we shot some video footage for it, and that's been sort of making the rounds on social media, doing some promotion on it.
Okay, amazing. And when exactly is Under the Earth and Above Heaven available? It
comes out a week tomorrow, Valentine's Day. We were planning to do like a whole Valentine's Day massacre ad campaign, but we got so busy with other stuff. It's one of the many things that just falls by the wayside.
Jeez, man, you're up to good stuff with Elephants and Stars. You're not just a t-shirt production company.
No, that's just we've diversified. We do music, we do t-shirts, we even do shows sometimes.
Very cool.
The whole package.
And I feel almost like we buried the lead, but we talked last time you were over. By the way, the first time you were over here was a backyard episode.
Yes, I think it was during COVID. I was trying to remember if that was during COVID.
Yeah, because I only did the backyard stuff. I pivoted to the backyard when I wasn't allowed to have people down here.
Oh, right.
So, and I remember, this is your first visit to the basement.
Yes.
And right now, I'm vamping mildly because I'm now searching for elephants. There you are. And I'm going to tell the listenership, and I'm going to tell Laura in Spain. Do you know a Laura in Spain?
I don't.
Or is it Laura in Spain? I could be messing that up. You don't know, but somebody has joined the live stream from Spain and says hi to you, Manfred.
Oh, I wonder if it's Larissa from
maybe.
Spain. I do know Larissa from
Spain.
I'm going to say my high school girlfriend in grade 9.
So the name's sort of truncated, but it's probably Larissa.
Let's hope so.
So your grade 9 girlfriend has joined the live stream from Spain.
Yes.
Does that make you more nervous?
A little bit, sure. I mean, everything makes me nervous. I'm sort of a bit of a fusspot in that way.
Well, hey, why change things up now? We gotta be authentic here. So I'm gonna let the listeners and Larissa know that episode 7. By the way, I love this jam of yours in the background. I love it.
Oh, thanks.
You're good.
We one of the jams we're going to kick out ties into this song.
Okay.
I tried to have stuff that sort of tied into stuff.
Okay, good. We'll cover more ground then. But I want to tell people episode 737. So like a jet, you're 737. You dropped by. It was a backyard episode, but it was in person, and I love those backyard episodes in person. So we were in the backyard, and we talked about Elephants and Stars, but then we talked about your work with Ron Hawkins, speaking of Lowest of the Low, and we talked about you working with, like, Ron Hawkins is a musical hero of mine, but so is Ian Blurton. Like, you're covering all of my favorites.
Yeah, and this record, Under the Earth, was produced again by Ian Blurton. And on March 20th, we go into the studio for our next record, and the producer will be Ron Hawkins. So we're just kind of flipping back and forth between Canadian icons.
Seriously, though, but like two of the greats, and you're prolific.
We are prolific. That's what we lack in success, we make up for in
it's quantity, not quality.
Prolificity.
Yeah, quantity, not quality is what
it.
we're looking for here.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm kicking out because we're going to kick out jams that aren't by Elephants and Stars. But because I just found out Valentine's Day is the big day, you're dropping the new album. And the new album produced by FOTM Ian Blurton is called, this new album's called Under the Earth and Above Heaven. And we're going to hear another track before we get to your jams. But yeah, so produced by Ian Blurton, that's amazing. The videos by Simon Head, so it's like an FOTM production here. But I dig this jam as well. Strangers on a Train. Is this autobiographical? What's going on with Strangers on a Train?
Yeah, I mean, they're all a little but autobiographical. Generally, they sort of start that way and then they sort of take on their own life form. But yeah, this is just sort of about the notion of kind of going through life, not really paying attention, like you're just sort of like looking at it pass you by through train windows.
Why did it end for you and Larissa in grade 9?
I think, and I don't want to spill anybody else's business, but I believe at that point she decided she liked another person more than myself, and she just sort of traded up.
Traded up. Okay.
Yeah.
Did that guy, because I had a similar experience, did this guy have a car?
No, because we were in grade 9, so I don't think any of us had our license.
Could have been like a 16-year-old.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sure he probably was kept back at some point, but I don't think so.
I see what you did there. Okay, Larissa can speak for Larissa because she's on the live stream.
Yep.
Larissa, let us know why did you level up from Manfred back in grade 9? Okay,
and to be fair, I think it's completely fair to level up from me. She's not the first or last to do it, so
you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, I'm a good entry port.
And now look at you, producing great music with people like Ian Blurton and Ron Hawkins. I'm envious of you, man. You're living the life.
The music side is a good life.
And we covered a lot of this. So again, we're going to kick out jams here, so I don't want to do 90 minutes again like we did in the backyard, but people really should go back and hear your origin story. And we had a great chat in that backyard. I love that, man.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was like the most fun that I've had doing these, because I do sort of...
Oh, doing these. I thought like in your life that was the most fun.
Well, because generally hearing the sound of my own voice speaking drives me crazy.
Oh, yeah?
But yeah,
You have a good voice.
That didn't bother me at all. I had so much fun. I'd sort of just put that out of my head.
I was going to say, imagine you sounded like me and you had to hear your own voice every day for 12 years.
But you've got that pro broadcaster
Do I?
sound. Oh, for sure.
I'm just faking it, man.
Wow.
That's the non-authentic part of the program here. Okay, dig in these jams, people, and Valentine's Day. How would you like people to get their ears on Under the Earth and Above Heaven?
Well, whatever's most convenient for them. Obviously, we're doing Spotify campaign and an Apple Music campaign. If they want to go ahead and just pay straight cash for it, Bandcamp is the way to go.
Bandcamp.
It's whatever they like. We're actually going to be producing some physical media this time, but we're not doing that for another couple months because it is expensive.
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. And I had a guest last week, Bob Wagner, who gave me a CD afterwards, and I was honored and happy to receive it. but I don't actually listen to music on CDs.
Me neither.
Yeah, and I get vinyl. Like, I mean, I use them as sort of like parts of the like conversation starters, and I've got lots. Some of it was my old stuff when I did have a record player, but this Tragically Hip Road Apples album I have, which I love that album, but I don't listen to the vinyl.
Well, I'm the same way. Like, I have vinyl of some of my favorite records, but I don't own a record player.
Right. Okay. So I'm in the same boat. I got some great albums here, but I have no way to actually play these. And if I did have a way to play them, I doubt I would, because I have a premium YouTube account, and I typically just use that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the majority of people just plug into something.
So here, we're about to get to your first jam. By the way, you number them 1 to 10. Do I start at 1 or 10?
I actually don't remember the order I put them in. So
are they in no particular order?
I don't think they are in
okay,
order.
Then
I
I'm
think I
go.
sort of grouped them that like these are songs that like directly influenced our record somehow, or someone associated with it, or whatever.
Okay, so I'll just play them, and since it doesn't matter, I'll just play them. But here, so I'm going to take this opportunity. One is I want to shout out another FOTM who I believe you're working with. So you don't just work with Simon Head and Ron Hawkins and Ian Blurton, but the great legend that is Cam Carpenter.
And that's been a real blessing for us. He's been so great and supportive, and he got us that show opening for Richard Lloyd, and he's got us onto various radio programs, and he's just one of those like old school fans of music.
What radio programs? I'm just curious.
Well, Coral Andrews played us in Kitchener-Waterloo.
Pete Fowler's involved with that, right? Isn't he involved with that station? Pete Fowler?
Think so.
The Lost Indie City, I think, is on that station.
Yeah, so like just plays like that, and I'm really bad at sort of recalling the actual specifics, but I do remember.
All right, don't start a podcast then. You got to recall shit all the time.
I actually wanted to talk to you about that later. I had an idea for one, but that's for another time.
Okay, that's for another time. Okay, because now you've got my attention here. Holy smokes, Manfred. Okay. You want to get to these jams? No.
Sure.
No.
No.
So I've given you the Great Lakes beer.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you, not the most recent TMLX at Palma's Kitchen, but I have seen you attending a TMLX event.
I did. I went to the one.
Before that?
It was before that, where it's over that store that has all the great
Palma's
food in
Kitchen.
Oh, yeah. No, I ended up going downstairs and buying a bunch of stuff because it was all delicious. I think I bought some eggplant.
Do you want a large lasagna that's in my freezer right now from Palma Pasta?
I would love one. I had one the first time, and it was amazing.
You're getting another one. I like the cut of your jib here. Okay, so shout out to Palma Pasta.
Definitely.
Shout out to Great Lakes Beer. Ridley Funeral Home. There's a green measuring tape. There you go. That's for you, courtesy of Ridley Funeral Home.
Cool.
You can measure whatever you like. I don't need to know the details.
No.
But got to shout out Life's Undertaking, which is Brad Jones's excellent podcast. He's the funeral director at Ridley Funeral Home. Speaking of great podcasts, I want to shout out Building Toronto Skyline, which is by the newest sponsor of Toronto Mike, a gentleman who stepped up to fuel the real talk. His name is Nick Iones, and he's going to be my guest tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So tomorrow, 9 a.m., on the live stream, live.torontomike.com. I'm sure Larissa will be back for that one. Hear from
Definitely.
Nick Iones and Fusion Corp and why he raised his hand and what he's up to, and it's going to be a fun chat.
Sounds good.
And last but not least, recyclemyelectronics.ca. That's where you go, Manfred. If you have, you got old cables in a drawer somewhere?
I have a giant blue bin full of cables that will never plug in anywhere ever again, so I'll have to definitely head them.
Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, stick in that postal code, and then find out where to drop it off to be properly recycled so the chemicals do not end up in our landfill.
No, or lakes.
So we'll talk more about the new music and everything as we kick out these jams.
Cool.
But important question before I press play on jam number 1. Manfred, are you ready to kick out the jams?
I'm absolutely ready. I even read a book about the MC5 a couple weeks ago just to get ready.
Skin and bones, you never did come home. Crashing on my heart through the telephone. I remember the tall grass waving in past lives, old poems. I must have lived a lifetime without you. You must have ended up somebody's angel. I remember you loving the radio, new waves and old stones. Hey, hey, little Tommy gun, I guess we're never gonna end up the lucky ones. Oh, if I never see you again, have a round on me, love, hallelujah, nobody wins.
Manfred, what are we listening to?
So this is Brian Fallon, most known for being the frontman for Gaslight Anthem, the sort of punk rock band. He went solo after they went on an extended hiatus and produced some of this great sort of acoustic rock pop. And I think it's fantastic, and I think more people should hear it. If you're a fan of Gaslight, you'll probably like it because it's him. And if they're a little too punk rock for your taste, then you have this. He's got 3 records that are sort of all in this vein.
I love the fact, and spoiler alert, but you had a number of songs I'm not familiar with. Like sometimes people come over and kick out the jams, and it's like, Won't Get Fooled Again by the Who, it's Gimme Shelter by the Stones. You're like, I love these songs, but these are songs I have literally heard 1,000 times each.
I mean, it was odd because, again, spoiler alert, I didn't put a Lowest of the Low song on here as influential as they are, but because everyone familiar with the Toronto Mike podcast has probably heard of Lowest of the Low. So, I mean, definitely if you don't, go listen to them because they're literally one of the greatest.
What's your favorite Lowest of the Low song?
I go back and forth. It's either Salesman, Cheats, and Liars because that was the first song I heard. And when we opened for them in Hamilton, I was able to get up on stage and sing that with them, which was so surreal. I think I left my body. But I think in terms of just a song that captures a mood is I love Gamble. I've always loved Gamble.
I feel like Gamble's the one they submitted. It was a different version, but they submitted Gamble for the New Rock Search.
That's right, and it was a different version.
And then, is that the one that Head won?
Head did win that
with
one.
Happy?
FOTM Noah Mintz.
Noah Mintz, yeah.
Who's mastered a couple of our records.
You got to keep dropping these names, buddy. I love what a small world we live in.
Yeah, well,
this.
I mean, that community is pretty small.
Yeah, well, let's shout them all out. Noah Mintz, and then, of course, Brendan Canning. I got an email yesterday that Broken Social Scene is coming to town, and they were it was like a promotional PR email. So shout out to Brendan Canning, who's not an FOTM. What's going on with that?
I'm still holding out hope for that Head reunion.
You know what? It's time, man. Let's get happy together here. Happy together. Okay, ready for your second jam. Here's a band I'm more familiar with, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say about them. Fade it down because I like the story here, but tell me what we're listening to, Manfred.
So this is The Beaches. This is one of the songs off one of the EPs they did in between albums. This song's called My People. I've loved these guys for years. I've seen them probably half a dozen times, and it's been great because you see them in this teeny club, and then you see them selling out the Opera House, and then you see them selling out Beaches.
Yeah, now it's Bud Stage,
Beaches,
right?
Sorry, History.
Yeah.
And the reason I picked this song is because if you listen to the guitar line that starts this song and then listen to the guitar line that starts The Ceiling, basically we were kicking around saying how much we like the way...
Well, you want to do it? Here, what's the point of having a podcast?
We love the way Kylie plays lead, like stylistically, just the really hooky lines. We said we should do something in that vein.
Okay, so here is the opening of Elephants and Stars, The Ceiling. All right, The Beaches, my people here. Of course, yeah. All right, I love this breaking down the influences and inspiration.
Yeah, and we weren't trying to steal from them so much as I just love the way, because she comes up with guitar lines like that pretty regularly, and we really just were like, we should have something like that because I just love that style.
I totally just had a band earlier this week. Was it Monday? It's funny. It's all a blur to me. I think it was earlier this week. No, this week just started. It was last week. So you know what? I'm so lost. What day of the week is it? Thursday? It was earlier this week. This band was called High Teens. Well, they are called High Teens. And they had a single, and I was playing it, and I could hear Collective Soul Shine. And then the guy's like, my brother told me the same thing earlier today. Like, you can hear these elements.
Oh,
from other
absolutely,
songs.
yeah.
And it's fun to kind of break it down, and, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah, and the good news is that was sort of intentional as opposed to just subconsciously stealing it. So I'm going to give them full credit for being an influence on a band twice their age.
Does the Beaches have to, yeah, right. Does the Beaches have to rename themselves The Beach? No.
I don't think so. I think they're good. They're a fantastic band.
Remind me about why you're named Elephants and Stars again.
We took it from a book called The Moral Arc by Michael Shermer. It's this sort of history of mankind edging towards morality. And in the beginning, there's a thing about like, the universe is broken down into things you can see and things you can't see. And the two things he cited that you can see are elephants and stars. So we said, well, that'd be an all right name. And we really just didn't want to have that conversation. So we're like, fine, that'll be the name. And the manager we were working with at the time, before we put out our first record, the day it was going to go get pressed, she's like, are you 100% sure that's what you want for the name?
There's no going back.
No, there's not. But it's
I
not.
like it.
Oh, do you?
I like it. You don't like it?
Not really.
It's like, and again, earlier this week when High Teens were here, there was a drummer who started the band, and he kind of put out the notice, hey, we need a singer. So it's like his band, he wanted High Teens, and the other guys don't like the name. And it's like, it's interesting, like, how a name works. Like, sometimes it just sticks, and I just think, I don't even think of you as Manfred. I'm like, Elephants and Stars is here.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, a quarter or a fifth. Or
well, do you want to name check everybody?
Sure. On guitar is Adam Seed, who will be playing with me tonight at Baby G. I chickened out of playing it by myself and asked him to come along. Mike McMillan is our bass player. Stuart is our drummer. Stuart, excuse me. Sorry, I had to throw Stuart McKinney. And then Simon on keys.
Simon on keys. What a multi-talented son of a bitch that Simon Head is.
He is. He's really sort
annoying,
of a modern Renaissance man.
And he has a good beard. Like, do you
got
grow a good beard?
Fantastic. I cannot. My beard, I just get like the Hulk Hogan mustache, which is not that great these days. But yeah, no, he's got a fantastic beard.
I once in a while, particularly during the pandemic, I had moments of like, I'll just grow the fucking beard. Like, what do I care? And then I realized it's kind of like, remember in Cheers when Cliff Clavin was growing that beard?
Yeah.
It was like this patch. I got these two parts here that don't seem to want to grow the hair, and it just looks bad.
I look like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Oh, all right. Who was played by Casey Kasem. You know
Yes.
this, right? Okay. I can't tell you anything, Manfred.
He also did Robin on the Super Friends.
Wow, I loved it. Was that with the Wonder Twin powers?
Yeah,
I loved that
the Hall
show.
of Justice and the
Wonder Twin,
Legion
and then
of
one
Doom.
guy had to be like water based. Do you remember? Like, she'd be like a horse.
She was an
he'd
animal
be
and he was
ice
water
or
based, so he'd be
something.
like ice and steam and
That guy got fucked in that deal. I don't know.
very,
Man.
very specific powers.
You got to be a certain age. That's got to hit you. Like, you got to be a certain age to have that chat about the
Wonder Twins.
The
yeah.
Wonder Twins.
That
right.
definitely ages you.
Wow. Okay, here we go. Another jam from Manfred here.
Ever had a rendezvous with reason, or a punch out with sense? I have them all the time, it ain't the season. Just say I look a little tense, and it do get worse, like a merry-go-round curse. Just like talking to a wall. The reason puts light out and says pulls a plug, and brother run just stumbles and falls. So you feel it, just wrap it up and seal it, and deal with it when a rainy day comes along. So let's come to conclusion.
Sounds amazing, Manfred. What are we listening to?
So this is a band from Sweden called the Helicopters. The frontman is sort of pulled a Dave Grohl. He used to be the drummer in a death metal band called Entombed, and then he came out with this. It was actually Ian that turned me on to them when we recorded together for the first time. He said, oh my God, you have to hear that band. They're right up your alley, and they are. And the reason I picked this song is, again, similar to the Beaches. When I first wrote Strangers on a Train, it was written in all major chords. It was like C and G, and it's very bright sounding. And I thought that really kind of belies what the song's about. And so I heard this song, and I was like, oh, yeah, what we could do is we'll actually change it to go half major, half minor chords. So that's a direct thank you to these guys.
I love how you're kicking out jams that inspired the new music.
Yeah, and these guys actually just put out a new record. I think it's called Overdriver last Friday, and it's fantastic. And everyone should go listen to them too.
And Helicopters is, nowadays you need like a domain name. You got to make sure it's SEO ready. Like I feel like they intentionally misspell Helicopters.
Yeah, well, they've been out for like 20 years.
Okay, see, I'm catching up here, man.
The album Ian tipped me to originally was called High Velocity, and I think it came out in like 2003. He's in another band called Imperial State Electric too. This guy, he's one of those guys. He's in like 800 bands.
Well, Ian's in 800 bands.
Ian is in 800 bands, and they all produce tons of music.
I feel like an asshole because he's got so many projects going on, so much going on, and I'm like, when can I see Change of Heart?
Well, you can see them. They're playing soon, I think, because we
in Toronto.
Yeah, with the original lineup or one of the original lineups, because we had originally asked to open that, and I think he took a hard pass on it.
Who's opening ahead of you, man? I'll go.
I don't know who it is, but I remember when I originally was in the studio with Ian, I said, "Oh, when Change of Heart gets back together, we gotta open that show." And he just looked at me, and goes, "Our audience wouldn't like you."
Aw.
Which, if you know Ian, is a very typical type of Ian-ish answer.
Really dig that guy. And his visit, much like yours, Manfred, his visit was during the backyard sessions.
That's true.
I'm now calling them. So he's another backyard guy.
He told me after, because we were in the studio not long after that, he had a really fun time. He really enjoyed it. And I know that he's generally doesn't love doing those.
Well, that's praise from Caesar. Mm-hmm. The other guy who had a backyard session in the pouring rain is Cam Carpenter. Like, it's before I figured it all out, so I threw him in and then the skies opened up, and I wasn't prepared for like a torrential downpour, and Cam got soaked. And he's like, he had him like he was trying to like protect the mics and everything. I didn't want to lose thousands of dollars of gear. So all three of you got backyard sessions.
Coincidentally, I actually met Cam Carpenter for the first time in the 90s. I was invited by someone to like an after hours club, which I didn't even know was a thing. And I went there, and they said, "Oh, by the way, this is Cam Carpenter. He signed Sloan." And I was like, wow. Ooh. I just said, "Congratulations, excellent work." And
now I hear a Sloan song on a television commercial.
That's right.
Which is good for them.
Yeah, that's great for them.
Which hasn't been I haven't been so excited since I heard a Sky Digger song in an ad last year.
Oh, I haven't heard
Sky
that
Diggers.
one, yeah.
There's a song that was using "I Will Give You Everything." So, all right, let's kick out this next jam, which will tie back to Ron Hawkins, anyways, maybe. But because then I'm going to search the Google machine to find out where we can see a Change of Heart, because I think I want to go see.
Yeah, I just saw that announced really recently.
Okay, I'm going to check it out. Here we go.
Only 99%, there's nothing new for you to learn. Okay, so
Manfred, what are we listening to, bud?
So this is Canada's own Propagandhi from Manitoba. I think they're one of the best bands ever, let alone from this country. And the reason I picked them, well, they're not necessarily a direct influence, obviously, musically, because they're like a lot heavier and faster than we are, and let's be honest, a lot better. They've just become one of my absolute favorite bands. When they first came out in the 90s, I didn't really connect with them, but they're one of those bands that every record they've gotten better and better and better, and they've sort of moved away from that like Fat Records punk rock into like this kind of rock metal punk blend. But they do influence us in certain ways, like little ways. Like for one, I love the little vocal inflections that Chris Hanna does, like the little uhs and like little emphasis points. So I've started trying to work those in. And really the main influence is they influenced me to try to be a better lyricist, because this guy is one of the best lyricists, period. Like he's up in the Ron Hawkins category for me.
Well, speaking of Ron, whenever he drops by with his guitar, I see the sticker for this band on his guitar. So.
Yeah, well, I heard the story on your podcast when Ron was on once, that he told the story that Chris Hanna from Propagandhi and he used to write letters back and forth to one another. And I have so over-romanticized what I think those letters were like, because they're so smart and they're both so politically charged and informed.
Well, we can ask Ron nicely. He might show us those letters.
Yeah, like in my mind, it's like, you know, when Jean-Jacques Rousseau was writing John Locke about, you know, the liberty of man.
The Age of Enlightenment.
That's how I built them up in my head.
Well, I'm with you, man. That's a great jam, great band, absolutely. Of course, there's the famous John K. Samson was in that band for a while.
He was,
right?
for two records, I think.
Fun fact. But I got a exciting small world story. Do you know the Toronto band Guh?
I do.
So there is, I think it's the only one in the universe, but there is a deep dive in the Toronto Mic'd Archives. There's a Guh deep dive with at least 3 members of that collective down in the basement here. And we kind of get the origin story. It all happens really close to, the origin story happens very close to the Galleria Mall at Dufferin and DuPont.
Oh,
which,
neat.
of course, I worked at for 5 years around the time this band was forming. So there. But the reason Guh came over for the deep dive is I saw Guh perform. I was with Cam Gordon and Cam Gordon's wife, MF, and my wife was there too, Monica. And we were at the Geary Street Art Crawl. So Geary Street is very close to Dufferin and DuPont. A cool strip, and they closed it to vehicular traffic, and there was a lot of cool artists and stuff, including a band was performing at, there's pausing for dramatic effect so I don't mess it up, the Sound Garage, which is 165 Geary Avenue. And that is a location. Change of Heart is playing in April.
Yeah, that was tied in very professionally. That whole story arc.
Those pauses for effect had great effect. So the Change of Heart at the Sound Garage, Saturday, April 26th at 7 p.m. Of course, because it's Change of Heart at the Sound Garage, it's a reasonably priced event for us regular people who can't afford these big ticket events that have been plaguing our musical ecosystem here. And this is a record release of the new Change of Heart album, In the Wreckage, which, fun fact, is the first Change of Heart LP in, do you want to guess how many years?
Ooh, I would say 24, maybe 30 years.
27, you're close.
Wow.
So there you go. First new album from Change of Heart in 27 years. And and I'm just taking a note here. April 26th, that Saturday night, I want to be on Geary Avenue.
I will probably be on Geary Avenue that night too. And would this be a good time as any to announce here first as a world exclusive that on Friday, April 25th, Elephants and Stars will be doing their first ever headlining show in Toronto at the Bovine, with FOTM, Gene Champagne in support.
Oh my God. Okay, now I'm weak in the knees. You're blowing my mind right now. But these drumsticks given to me by Gene Champagne, because these, of course, are Teenage Head drumsticks.
Well, he's the drummer of every band in Hamilton. It's like he's the Killjoys.
Right.
He's in his band. He's the drummer in Teenage Head. He's now the drummer for the Black Halos. I think it's just like a bylaw. He'll be in the Dirty Nil before.
And he almost died
month.
on us, you know.
He almost did. That was pretty. I remember because I'm friends. Facebook friends and
right.
somewhat acquaintancy with Mike Treblecock, and I know they were very, very worried.
Absolutely, it was close.
Yeah.
But he's going to be playing with you. That's amazing that you gave that exclude. So that's the April 25th is you.
Yep.
April 26th is Change of Heart. Thank goodness they're not the same night.
No, that
That
way
would
I can go
suck.
to both. I'd hate to have to miss my show to go watch Ian.
Is Change of Heart the most underappreciated band in Canadian music history?
They are, in my mind, the second most underappreciated band, and we're going to kick out the jams of another one later in the show.
Okay,
But
good. You know what? You should be on the radio because that's like a backselling or whatever the term is. I'm like teased. I'm now sucked in. I need to listen to the rest of this jam kicking just to hear what you deem to be the most underappreciated band in Canadian rock history.
Yeah, I can't remember where I put them in the,
Okay,
the
well, we'll see.
numerical order, but
Well, we'll see. Because let's kick out your fifth jam.
I woke up late again. I heard you moving around outside. I'm over hanging out till you can catch a ride. Was it Sarah on the phone asking where you went to hide last night? Is it ever the last time? Then you start spinning another stream of conscious life, and it's so complicated I can't keep track. First left alive with her feet nailed down to this unholy ground, and you beg a promise when I die, please don't bury me in this town. Said I'm leaving someday soon. I said I know I'm leaving too. And I can feel the distance already, and I can wait, go get some food. I'll take it back to Jackson, and maybe catch a movie too. Just for a minute, pretending everything's cool. This is the last night, and it'll probably be the last time. As you start spinning another stream of conscious life.
You have a style you gravitate towards, and I dig it very much. I love this song.
the funny thing about this song is when I first heard it, being a Husker Du fan when I was growing up, I was like, oh my goodness, this sounds like Bob Mould singing a Grant Hart song. So I sent it to every one of my friends who knows Husker Du, and I said, doesn't this sound like Bob Mould, singing Grant Hart? And almost to a person, they all emailed me back and said, no, this sounds like your band. So,
Well, you know who it sounds like to me? Killjoys.
oh yeah, for sure. You know what? Yeah, there's definitely a
In there,
Killjoys vibe.
my brain started saying, "Today I hate everyone."
Yeah, I guess I hadn't put that together, but definitely I could hear that.
I don't know, maybe everybody does this. I've never asked, but like I do hear songs come out of other songs, and then those songs become a part of the song. Where there's a very famous Miley Cyrus song called "Flowers." Is it called Flowers? I think it's called Flowers. But it was everywhere a couple years ago. It was everywhere, and my kids loved it. But it reminded me of a Wham song. And if I tell you that I'm having my baby, I'll tell you that I'm
Freedom.
happy if you want me to.
Not Freedom.
It's not Freedom.
That
one though, it's from Make It Big, I think. But basically, if the song is on and the kids are singing along, and I have an 8-year-old who would be singing along to this Flower song, they would add my George Michael verse because that's now mashed into the song. And this song, that part, today I had it. When does this song, New Junk City, when does it come out approximately?
Oh, it's been out for over a year. Another reason I picked it was, Spotify gives you that. This is what you listen to the most. That was my most listened to song of 2024, apparently.
No, I mean, I'm digging the cut of your jib. And absolutely, it's a Killjoy-esque. And shout out to Gene Champagne.
Always.
I'm digging this, man. When I had the idea years ago, so I would have guests over, and we would do the A to Z of their life and times. We did that with you in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized there wasn't really any reason to bring someone back, but there were guests I had on. I wanted to have them over again. And then I had been on Twitter back when I was on Twitter, and I saw Mike Wilner was tweeting about Pearl Jam's 10, okay? Which is an album I love very much. Pearl Jam's 10. I probably listened to it a million times. I heard it yesterday. I heard Black. I love Pearl Jam's 10. And blah, blah, blah. My brain goes, oh, I thought Wilner was like an 80s guy. Wilner was really into like 80s pop music, like top 40 80s stuff. I'm surprised Wilner's a Pearl Jam 10 song. So I'm on this bike ride. I'm like, I wonder what other songs Mike Wilner likes. Like, what are his jams? Like, I'm like, oh, I could have him back where we play and discuss his 10 favorite songs of all time. And then I started doing a bunch of these. But over time, it becomes a bit of a hassle. Like, I love what we're doing here, but it is inevitable at some point I'm going to get an email from Spotify. Your friends at Spotify are going to send me an email to say, if you can't prove you have the rights to play these songs, we're removing it from Spotify in 48 hours. Like, I'm going to get that kind of an email. Like, that's going to happen.
Oh.
Hundreds of Toronto Mic'd episodes have been removed from Spotify because I do this. And my thought is, I don't care. Like, this exists on all the other platforms. You know, I use Podcast Addict. People will be able to hear this, but if you are a person who only listens to podcasts in Spotify, at some point, you're actually not going to hear this episode. Like, that's just a cruel fact.
That's very odd, though, considering they're playing it on Spotify where you can hear those songs. So you'd think they would have a means of.
But I guess they don't
that.
get compensated, like, because when I play this song,
They don't get their-
the artist doesn't get their 1 penny.
Like 1 penny, more like
I know.
1/100th of a penny.
But I guess that's the reason. Like, so
Yeah.
if you go through the proper channel, they can at least document and compensate or whatever.
Well, if it does get pulled down, if you're hearing this, go listen to New Junk City from Georgia, I think they're from.
And hopefully you're listening on a decent podcast app. I think Spotify's a terrible podcast app anyways. What's your podcast app of choice, Manfred?
Generally, it's YouTube if it's available. Sometimes I'll just go to the site of the podcast, like the website where you can download. Like, generally when I listen to Toronto Mike, it's on the Toronto Mike website.
Sure. Well, that's the best. Like, I literally have a player, an HTML5 player that just plays the MP3 from the server. Shout out to Ian Service in Guelph. And that way there actually is no like middleman, like no middle tech bro interfering.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to Spotify very begrudgingly. I do it out of sheer laziness because it's easy. I can fire it up and the entire universe of music is there. But if there's any way, like on audiobooks or podcasts or anything else, I will.
You.
If a band has a Bandcamp,
So-
I'll go listen to them there if I can.
So, you know, those who know, and this episode will live forever on the apps that are not going to remove it. But Spotify, just a little FYI, if you're a Spotify listener, maybe think about another app because there are hundreds of fantastic Kick Out the Jams episodes. So all this, before I kick out the next jam, this is all to say that I haven't done as many lately because there's a bit of a hassle now involved that the lawyers and algorithms are involved. But I will say I absolutely love doing this. Like, I love sitting down with you, drinking my Great Lakes beer, listening to your jams and having you tell me why you chose them. I love it.
This is a great format for a follow-up episode for sure.
Should I be recording this, Manfred? Well, because I think it's just two buds in the basement playing jams.
Yeah, I mean, if people want to hear it, absolutely.
All right, I'm going to start recording now. You ready? Here we go.
Okay.
Take it from me, you're a bleeder. Your heart
What are we listening to here, bud?
So this is a band called the Penske File, in a clear Seinfeld reference.
100%.
I've been listening to these guys for a couple of years. I think they're fantastic. Their songs are catchy, great lyrics. And I was telling Simon about them one day. We were out front on Queen Street. I think it was actually at the Subversives showing.
Oh, at the Rivoli.
Yeah, and I said, I love this band. And he said, I know those guys. And I'm like, how do you know them? Because I didn't know anything about them. And he said, they're from Burlington.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
like the Spoons.
Yeah, so I reached out to them on Instagram or something. I was just like, I think you guys are the greatest. And they were, very friendly about it. But again, they're younger guys. They probably don't want their dad's friend telling them how great their band is. But yeah,
they should be grateful, regardless of age. They should be grateful that you have this appreciation for their art.
I sent them a note saying that I was coming on here and that I wanted to play one of their songs. Did they have a specific one they wanted me to play? Like, are they sort of pushing one over the other? And they said no. They were just very appreciative, and they said, play whatever you like, and hopefully they're hearing it and like it, and they'd be a band I'd love to play with one day in a shameless, what would you call that? Not a plug, a request.
Now, go ahead, go fill your boots. Now I'm thinking of bands named after like TV show references. One that's jumping out at me right now is Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest one, and I know that they really regretted that.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not really a big Fall Out Boy guy, but I'm a big Simpsons guy, and of course, there's Fall Out Boy as a character on The Simpsons, and then Penske File is a pretty damn good TV reference too.
I think there was a band for a while called Malibu Stacy too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good Simpsons
I did
reference.
like the early Fall Out Boy stuff. They kind of lost me in the last few records, but for a while I thought they were pretty good. I just read a book all about the history of the emo scene, and very interesting and illuminating.
Does it all start with Weezer? Where does this all begin?
Well, they sort of generally,
Pinkerton?
everyone says the first emo band was Rites of Spring in the 80s.
Okay.
For me, the first emo band I ever heard would be Sunny Day Real Estate.
Sure.
But also they lump in bands like Jimmy Eat World, who to me are just a rock band.
Oh, the middle, yeah.
But there's
the sweetness.
There's a neat story in there about the band Panic at the Disco. They were signed, never having played a show and never having made a demo tape. They were signed.
Wow.
They were signed at a rehearsal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then sold like 1 million records.
You're bringing the heat today, Manfred. You're gonna have to when you drop the next album, you're gonna have to come back and kick out
More jams.
Jams that
It was really
inspired
hard
the
to
new
pare
album.
it down to 10.
But you could do this. You have the new album. These are the songs that inspired the new album.
Sure.
See what I'm doing here?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I tried to
Now
do.
I'm thinking like, I'm going to be haunted by thinking of like bands named after television references, but can't get stuck in that rabbit hole right now because I got more jams to kick out with. And again, we call you Manfred like you're Cher or Madonna, right? Like you don't need a last name when your name is Manfred.
No,
because people can only name. There's Manfred Mann, of course. I don't know any other Manfreds.
The Red Baron, who I'm named. That's who I'm named after. Yeah, because that's
It's a good
really
German name.
Yeah, you want to bring someone over and name them after like the enemy of their country.
That's true. That's World War I, though, so at least there's
Yeah.
no Nazi
Yeah, there's
stink
no
on
Nazi.
it. That's why you got that going for you. All right, let's kick out your seventh jam.
Smoke, pack up your tents. Everyone's spent. Let's call it a day. Let's call it a day. Let's call it a day. There's no singing tonight.
All right, I'm going to call it now, Manfred. We're going to hear from you. This is your jam, but I'm going to predict, I'm going to guess. This is the most underappreciated band in Canadian music history, as far as you're concerned.
Underrated band in history, regardless of country. These guys are so great. I've been a fan of theirs since the early 90s. I saw them open for Los the Low on New Year's Eve at the Palladium. And I've liked everything they've done since. I think Vince is a fantastic songwriter.
Have you named them yet?
What's that?
I was going to say, you got to name this band because people are, we haven't named them yet.
I'm sorry. This is Sour Landslide from Toronto, Ontario. And, excuse me. And yeah, I just like everything they've ever done. I love how they kind of vacillate between like the punk of Husker Du and the jangle of REM. And I will say, Vince, this actually was produced by Ron Hawkins, this song. And Vince, who is the singer, hurt his hand. And so when they did their most recent show, they asked me to play guitar for them, which I did. And because I've not been told I'm no longer in the band, I'm now considering myself a full-time permanent member of Sour Landslide. So they have to kick me out if they want me out. But I do love this band.
So pretty much most of my awareness of this band comes from The Lowest of the Low and having these chats with Lawrence Nichols and, of course, Ron Hawkins.
And their appearance in Subversives.
Right. But I think the reason they're underappreciated is, and again, this is just speaking for myself, but like that scene, which I was really into, I was like a daily listener of CFNY at this time, okay? And it's top Thursday 30. Shout out to the late, great Martin Streak. We'd mentioned Pete Fowler early. He would co-host that show with Streak. But like this band, I'm not saying they weren't played on CFNY, but they weren't played in high rotation on CFNY to a point where I noticed them.
Correct. Like I think they were on one of the CFNY, the contest deals.
The new music search.
Yeah, they were on that, and I think they had an early song get played a little bit, Shine. But yeah, again, but that just speaks to how underrated they are. They should have been all over that station. They should have been in heavy rotation.
But they yeah, you're right, and they weren't. So it's almost like because they weren't on CFNY and they weren't on Much Music, I didn't have like a buddy I didn't have Ron Hawkins in my life to say you should be listening to these guys.
Yeah, and to be honest, I sort of fell into them by accident. They were opening for a band I wanted to see. I was originally not even going to go see the opening band, and my friend who I was going to the show with sort of bullied me into it. He said, let's go see what they are. And I was like, all right. And then as soon as I walked in, they were on, and the rest is histoire.
Absolutely. Here, I'm now, there's Manfred Sittmann.
I played that one show with them. So like I said, I'm a permanent member until they tell me otherwise.
Wow. Okay. Catching up here. Shout out to Chart Magazine. Rest in peace. Okay. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. So if people don't know Sour Landslide, catch up, but 1989 is when they were formed. So performing that kind of music, forming in 89, you're right in my wheelhouse where I should be all into you, but I missed you, and that's on me, man. That's on me.
Well, they're on Spotify. Their back catalog's there now. You want to start with a record called Friends of Dracula, which
and that got some. I'm reading now, catching up, but apparently that got some CFNY airplay that I just completely missed.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's a fantastic record. I still listen to it all the time.
I'm going to catch up. That way, next time I have Lawrence and Ron over, I can talk with great knowledge about Sour Landslide and get some credibility, some integrity points.
That you'll be king of the streets.
Because I'm tired of looking so uncool, Manfred.
Well, okay. I mean, I love Sour Landslide, and I still don't look that cool, so I don't know if that's going to be the cure-all for it.
Oh, Larissa agrees from Spain here. Okay, so let's kick out another Manfred jam. What are we listening to?
So this is Israeli-born Yotam Ben-Horon. He's a singer-songwriter, originally from Israel. He was in the punk band Useless ID. And I love his solo stuff. I do love the Useless ID stuff, but it's quite different. Like, they're quite punky, and obviously this is more singer-songwriter focused. I put this on the list because originally we were going to do an acoustic version of this tonight, but it just didn't really work out, so we're not going to do the song. But
are you doing any covers tonight?
We are doing 2 covers, and without giving any away, one of them is going to be one of the songs we've already played today.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you liked any of them and you want to hear an odd acoustic rendition of it, tonight is your night.
And the other one is a Bruce Springsteen jam. No.
Well, it's funny because the Gaslight Anthem are humongous Bruce Springsteen fans, or at least the singer is, which you can clearly hear in their records.
And remind people who are going to jump on this as we record at like 3 p.m. on Thursday, February 6th. What time tonight are you at the Baby G?
We're at the Baby G. I believe the doors open at 7, and I've been told I'm hitting the stage promptly at 8 because they want the headliners to be on by 9:30 so everyone can get home and go to work tomorrow.
Because people are old.
We're very old. But I will be there. I'm going to stay till the end. And I'm already breaking my sort of alcohol ban here today, having the delicious...
Well, your dry January's over, man. This is February.
Well, I didn't go full dry. Mine was kind of damp. It was like a damp January. I tried to cut back from my fully immersed underwater December. So it was just like baby steps.
The Baby G, baby steps. It all makes sense to me. But this song, I dig it, man. I'm digging your vibe here. You definitely have a vibe going here. And we have a penultimate jam coming up.
I can't remember what it is.
No, I kind of like it when you forget and then you're surprised and you're like, oh, because this is the reaction, right? I'll play it and I will be watching you and you'll be like, oh, I like this song.
Right.
But you chose the fucking song.
Yeah, I know, but
my
my memory is like a sieve.
All right, let's kick it. He doesn't recognize it, everybody. Fuzzed out, my own worst enemy.
Yeah, and that voice might sound a little familiar to people. That's Patrick Pentland from Sloan. This is one of his side projects. And the reason, well, I picked it because I'm a big Patrick Pentland fan. I'm a big Sloan fan. But I wanted to tie it into our band because we had a conversation a couple years ago with Patrick about maybe doing some producing for us. And he actually did pre-production on 3 songs. So we sent him 3 demos, and he kind of reworked them on his computer and sent them back. And then his schedule blew up, and the whole thing kind of fell by the wayside. But I stayed in touch with him, and hopefully that's going to be something we do maybe even this year.
Can you get him over here?
I can sure try. He's not the most... What would you say? What's that line from America? I'm one poor correspondent. Like usually when you send him an email, you're gonna wait a few days before you get the response. But
well, he's a holdout because I mean Chris Murphy's been over multiple times. Jay Ferguson's been over, another backyard session. Fantastic. Where's my Patrick?
I will send him a note And look, we got Ian in here. We got Mike Treblecock in here. Why not?
And Ian's not easy to get. I don't think Ian does a lot of stuff like that.
No, he's not a big fan of it. But so maybe the fact that he enjoyed it, we can use that as like a thing.
A reference or whatever.
Yeah.
You know who hates it and loved being here, but absolutely hates doing it? Hayden. Like Hayden.
Oh, he doesn't like it?
No.
Oh.
He loved it here. But he was surprised he liked it here because he fucking hates doing any kind of press.
Well, the thing is, I actually don't like doing interviews for the most part because I find people just don't prepare for them and they sort of depend on you to sort of like carry all the weight. Whereas this is the opposite of that. Like this is just very easy and, fun as opposed to like feeling like, okay, well, I have to talk for 20 minutes because these guys didn't want to like look up our band.
Also, you might feel if you had, let's say you had 5 minutes, like it's sort of a bit of pressure. Like you got to get certain things in. You want to say, I'm at Baby G tonight. My new album's coming out February, 14th. Ian Blurton produced it. You might talk about Simon Head on keys, but you got things you want to hit. And then you got 5 minutes to kind of do it all. Like I feel like that would be pressure. But here we're over an hour now and we're not done yet because we got another jam to go. But you can kind of let it breathe a bit.
Yeah, no, it's really laid back. And plus you do a really good job of sort of like setting things up and like setting up questions. So it's kind of very natural and easy.
Thanks, man.
Like I said, a lot of people don't bother doing any of that. So like it's you sort of feel this pressure to like, I have to fill all the space.
Is it because they are lazy or is it because they don't care?
I think it's probably a good bit of both, quite
Bit
frankly.
of column A, column B.
Yeah, because they always say like, oh, we want it to be just a conversation. I'm like, okay, well, sure. But it ends up being really boring and nobody ever listens to it, I'm sure.
I love that Fuzzed Out track. I wasn't familiar with this song. It's an SEO unfriendly song because everything comes up lit. It's no surprise to me. I am my own worst enemy.
Yeah.
And every now and then I kick the living shit out of me. The smoke alarm is going off and there's a cigarette. Like this was a huge song.
And Pam Anderson was in the video.
Hey, I don't even remember the video.
Yeah, I think she was big and they were small or vice versa. I don't remember.
Well, because I remember Lit being kind of like Kirkland brand Blink 182.
Yeah, they were sort of like Trailer Park Blink 182, if I recall.
Kirkland's too high praise. The yellow label Blink 182, but that was a big song, and they kind of. But My Own Worst Enemy, love it. Yeah, that was great. And we're gonna get Patrick on Toronto Mic to everybody.
Yeah,
that's
our new mission.
Commitment from Manfred here.
Yep.
If he wants to get another appearance, he's got to deliver.
I stake my reputation.
And you know what?
As it were.
You know what? Now that I know there's a new album coming out for the first time in 27 years. Blurting in the basement. I have more questions.
That'd be fantastic.
This is years ago now. I think it was about 4 years ago. But I was biking like near Harborfront on the Queen's Quay. And I'm biking along like I do. And I can see biking by me Ian Blurton. And I was like, it's like Ian. He goes, hey. And he waves to me. But Ian Blurton biking on the waterfront trail. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's how he gets to the studio. That's where his studio is, right on the waterfront.
Okay, that explains everything.
And he's a fun guy to talk to because he's literally encyclopedic in his knowledge of music. It's ridiculous.
Well, we're going to get him back. Okay, one jam to go. I can't believe it's ending here. Manfred, let's hit these like promo points now before I kick out this last jam. You're tonight
at Baby G, an acoustic opening act for Foursquare.
And that's Simon Head's band.
That's Simon Head's band, and he's got like an all-star crew cranking these tunes out.
Will Ron Hawkins be there?
I am told Ron Hawkins is going to be there. So if you want to go meet him and get his autograph while I'm playing,
that's a big deal.
That could be fun for you. And then April 25th on Friday, we are headlining at the Bovine with Gene Champagne of the Killjoys and the Unteens and Teenage Head and Junior Achiever and probably 20 other bands will be in support. Probably some other bands might get added still.
Wow.
But it'll be really fun playing with Gene. We offered him the chance to be the headliner if he wanted, but he demurred, and so we're going to do it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and if anyone wants tickets to either of those, we can probably give away a couple of anyone besides Larissa's in the chat. I doubt she'll fly home.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so if you're in the chat and you want to go either tonight or on the 25th, just plunk it in there and we'll give a couple away.
And if they're not, like some people will just listen to this as a podcast on demand. Like, is there an email or something? I don't know. We didn't discuss this, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But is there any way to get one of these tickets if it's not claimed in the live stream?
Sure. Just hit us on social media. We're pretty active on there. So Instagram, Elephants and Stars, Threads. What are the other ones? Facebook.
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky were on there.
That's where I follow you.
Yeah, we're not really doing the X thing anymore for obvious
It's a
reasons.
bunch of Nazis.
Yeah, and it's
It's a cesspool.
Yeah,
And if I go on there just say something innocuous, I have people like just wanting to start a fight in my comments. It's like I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah, I don't really engage with that. We had a really funny thing happen to us on social media this week.
What?
Because the video for Strangers on the Train was there's like a paid promotion thing happening, and people have been reacting, been really positive. This is great, being really nice and generous. And someone wrote, I don't remember the word, it was like Piesto or something like that. I don't remember the actual word, and it was all in exclamation points. So I assumed it was a compliment. So I said, "Oh, thank you very much." I looked it up, and it meant pile of shit.
Yeah.
And so then I had to edit my comment and say, like, "Thank you. We'll try harder on the next one."
That sounds like X to me. Oh my goodness. Okay, now let's kick out this jam. I've loved this very much, Manfred. You know that. And,
I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, good. Let's see if your final jam is as good as those first 9. Here we go.
The first thing I do when I get home from the road is throw away that box of razor blades. You know, ones that belong to your baby daddy back in his carpet cutting days. And I know you got your secrets too, what do they say to you? And I know you got your secrets too, what do they say to you? Tell me, where are you running to, baby? Won't you take me with you? Won't you take me with you? Box 10 3/4-inch industrial strength razor blades. That's not the type of metal that you use for shaving blades. I've been holding the door open, I've been waiting to make an exit, but I don't have to take the jump when I know where the edge is. And I know you got your secrets too, what do they say to you? And I know you got your secrets too, what do they say to you? Tell me, where are you running to, baby? Won't you take me with you? Won't you take me with you?
Manfred, I love it. So before you tell me what we're listening to and why you chose it, it turns out Cam Carpenter was the lit PR guy at RCA.
Oh, and there you go. Full
It's no
circle.
surprise to Cam. He is their own worst enemy. As well as Shit from Hell, Warren Kinsella at the Bovine.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
I always call them SFH.
okay, Shit from Hell. Because we swear on this program.
Oh, perfect.
All right, tell me about this song.
So this is Laura Jane Grace, who if you recognize this very distinct voice, was the front person for Against Me, who I thought were one of the best bands of the early aughts. I thought White Crosses and New Wave and Transgender Dysphoria Blues were just three of the, like, for a band to have a run of 3 records like that was incredible. This is their solo work, very recent. I think this came out this year. And to me, it harkens back to the early days of Against Me, like the reinventing Axl Rose and that sort of thing. So they've actually talked to us a little bit about doing some production. They bought the studio from Jay Farrar of the Jayhawks, and they were very generous and kind and shared one of our songs with their Patreon membership. And so we've just been in touch a little bit about maybe going and having her produce one of our songs. So that would be fantastic because I'm a major fan.
Amazing. And I find it amazing that you're just now on Valentine's Day 2025, you're dropping the new album, but you're already like ready to go back in the studio and record the next album. Yeah,
well, we said earlier, quantity, not quality. That's it. We're just going to keep throwing stuff against the wall until it sticks and slides down.
Is this just like, I want to work with fucking Ian Blurden and Ron Hawkins. So if this is how you do it, I'm just going to do it. You're living the dream.
Yeah, you have to be shameless. You just ask for what you want and just get ready for a lot of no's. But then when you get the yes, it's amazing.
You got some yeses, but you didn't get the yes to open for Change of Heart.
No, they
Geary.
wouldn't. Their audience wouldn't like us, from what I understand.
Well, I liked this, man. This was cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. Thank you for having me.
By the way, this is, you mentioned a Burlington band, Penske File.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to George Costanza.
Right.
This is a cover of a Lowest of the Low song by Burlington's own Rob Bruce.
Yes, of the Spoons fame. And
Of Spoons fame.
And at one point, Honeymoon Suite fame, I think.
And yeah, 100%. 100%. He did at least one album with Honeymoon Suite. And he did the soundtrack song from Lethal Weapon.
I did not know that. I know that almost every girl in my grade was absolutely in love with him. Very handsome.
Well, he had good hair. He still has good hair. It's
Yes.
just not as long.
No.
But he'll be here in a couple weeks, so you can come back and play with his hair if you want.
Well, we'll ask him about that first. But yeah, say hi from me because I think he's fantastic too.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,626th show. Go to torontomike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs, whatever they may be. And you can follow me on Blue Sky. I'm at torontomike.com. That's like where I hang out, but I totally post like new episodes on the following places. I do post them on X, even though I fucking hate it there. I post it on Instagram. I post it on LinkedIn, believe it or not. And I post it on Facebook, as well as, of course, Blue Sky. But follow me wherever. And where would you like people to follow Elephants and Stars? Did you say Instagram?
Yes, we're on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. We have a Facebook page. We're on X, but don't follow us there because we don't really post much there anymore. We just sort of keep it so no one can grab the name.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay, good for you. Continued success to you, Mr. Elephants and Stars.
Thank you.
Much love to all who made this possible. That is Great Lakes Brewery, Palma Pasta, RecycleMyElectronics.ca, Building Toronto Skyline, and Ridley Funeral Home. Doubleheader tomorrow. So, tomorrow at 9 a.m., Nick Aini's from Building Toronto Skyline. I got to grill him on what's going on. Why does he want to be a partner of this magnificent, fiercely independent operation over here? And then at 11 o'clock, Sir Jerry Levitan returns. We got a lot to talk about with a provincial election going on. There's going to be a lot of shit we got to talk about with Sir Jerry. And we'll pay tribute to John Donaby because Sir Jerry and John Donaby have something in common. They both interviewed John Lennon. So we'll discuss all of that. See you all then.